Thank you for sharing her with us. Well, we're still missing some friends, but we're going to get started because I have some fun things to talk to you guys about today. Well, maybe not so fun. I'm going to read one of my absolute favorite Dr. Seuss books. And when I read this story, I feel like Dr. Seuss has two messages in this story. And these are two really important messages for kids. So first we're going to listen to the story, and then we're going to talk about what I think those messages are. So I hope you have your attendoscopes on. That means ears are listening, eyes are looking, mouths are quiet. We're sitting in our chairs, not fiddling around with things. We're calm and fold our hands if we have trouble. But brains are thinking, okay? That's really important, and hearts are caring. And today we're going to read The Sneetches. Now, this book, The Sneetches, also says and other stories. So there's more than just the Sneetches in this book. But we're just reading that one. The Sneetches. I feel like we try to find the best. There we go. I'll try to get in close. Now the Starbelly Sneetches had bellies with stars. The plain belly Sneetches had none upon theirs. Those stars weren't so big. They were really so small. You might think such a thing wouldn't matter at all. But because they had stars, all the Starbelly Sneetches would brag. We're the best kind of Sneetch on the beaches. With their snoots in the air, they would sniff and they'd snort. We'll have nothing to do with the plain belly sort. And whenever they met some, when they were out walking, they'd hike right on past them without even talking. When the Starbelly children went out to play ball, could a plain belly get in the game? Not at all. You only could play if your bellies had stars, and the plain belly children had none upon theirs. Are the Starbelly Sneetches being kind to the plain belly Sneetches? Not at all. When the Starbelly Sneetches had Frankfurter roasts, or picnics, or parties, or marshmallow toasts, they never invited the plain belly Sneetches. They left them out cold in the dark of the beaches. They kept them away, never let them come near. And that's how they treated them year after year. Then one day, it seems, while the plain belly Sneetches were moping and doping alone on the beaches, just sitting there wishing their bellies had stars, a stranger zipped up in the strangest of cars. My friends, he announced in a voice clear and keen, my name is Sylvester McMonkey McBean, and I've heard of your troubles. I've heard you're unhappy, but I can fix that. I'm the fix-it-up chappie. I've come here to help you. I have what you need, and my prices are low, and I work at great speed. And my work is 100% guaranteed. Then quickly Sylvester McMonkey McBean put together a very peculiar machine, and he said, you want stars like a Starbelly Sneetch? My friends, you can have them for $3 each. Just pay me your money and hop right aboard. So they clambered inside. Then the big machine roared, and it clunked, and it bonked, and it jerked, and it burked, and it bopped them about, but the thing really worked. When the plain belly Sneetches popped out, they had stars. They actually did. They had stars upon theirs. Then they yelled at the ones who had stars at the start. We're exactly like you. You can't tell us apart. We're all just the same now, you snooty old smarties. And now we can go to your Frankfurter parties. Good grief, groaned the ones who had stars at the first. We're still the best Sneetches, and they are the worst. But now, how in the world will we know, they all frowned, if which kind is what, or the other way round? Sorry, guys. Then up came McBean with a very sly wink, and he said, things are not quite as bad as you think. So you don't know who's who? That is perfectly true. But come with me, friends. Do you know what I'll do? I'll make you again the best Sneetches on beaches. And all it will cost you is $10 eaches. Belly stars are no longer in style, said McBean. What you need is a trip through my star-off machine. This wondrous contraption will take off your stars so you won't look like Sneetches who have them on theirs. And that handy machine, working very precisely, removed all the stars from their tummies quite nicely. Then with snoots in the air, they paraded about, and they opened their beaks, and they let out a shout. We know who is who, now there isn't a doubt. The best kind of Sneetches are Sneetches without. Then, of course, those with stars all got frightfully mad. To be wearing a star now was frightfully bad. Then, of course, old Sylvester McMonkey McBean invited them into his star-off machine. Then, of course, from then on, as you probably guess, things really got into a horrible mess. All the rest of that day on those wild, screaming beaches, the fix-it-up chappie kept fixing up cheap Sneetches. Off again, on again, in again, out again. Through the machines they raced round and about again, changing their stars every minute or two. They kept paying money. They kept running through until neither the plane nor the Starbellies knew whether this one was that one or that one was this one or which one was what one or what one was who. Then when every last cent of their money was spent, the fix-it-up chappie packed up and he went, and he laughed as he drove in his car up the beach. They never will learn. No, you can't teach a Sneetch. He took all their money. But McBean was quite wrong, I'm quite happy to say, that the Sneetches got really quite smart on that day. The day they decided that Sneetches are Sneetches, and no kind of Sneetch is the best on the beaches. That day, all the Sneetches forgot about stars, and whether they had one or not upon theirs. Now, I wonder, does this story remind you of anything in real life that we might have talked about? Raise your hand in teams if you can think of something. Clara, does it remind you of something in real life that we might have talked about?
Well, I raised it because I want to see the front of the book because I didn't get to see it.
It's the Sneetches on the beaches, or the Sneetches.
Okay.
Okay. So, does anybody have any ideas? Artur, what do you think? Does this remind you of something we've talked about?
Well, I didn't really see the whole book because I got in late. 4 minutes late.
I will add this lesson into our Seusstastic celebration page later. so that you can access it there if you'd like to go back and listen to the story again, okay? Sound good? All right. Yeah, I'll make sure to add the video there so that you can watch what you missed. All right. Haley, did it remind you of anything that we've talked about?
Yes, they were not being very kind.
Yeah. They were not, you're right. Clara, does it remind you of something we've talked about?
Now I erased it because this is probably just because it's on my school iPad, but I don't know. On the on the Seuss celebration, on that top red one you were saying about that you were showing me yesterday, what to do on it? That not Dr. Seuss. So the green eggs and ham one wasn't working.
Okay, I'll check into it. Thank you. All right, so I see some hands going up. I want to say that I do have a few more things to talk about before I raise the hands for shares. So if you have anything that I'm asking you guys a question right now, and that's the only way you want to raise your hand. So Owen, do you have an idea of what maybe this is like? Something from the lessons we've learned? What's your thought?
It reminded me a little bit. It was a little bit like, when you said that, what did it remind you of? It sort of, I thought, and it was sort of like that story we watched with that person that was just like, this is my house, and this is not, and this house is not for this kind of person. Yeah.
Absolutely. That's what I think of, Owen. It really does make me think about when people were unkind to people just because they were Black.
Yeah.
You know, back when my mom and dad were little and Black children couldn't go to the schools that white children went to, and Black families could not go to the stores. That's what I think about. I feel like, in a way, that Dr. Seuss is trying to tell us that what we look like on the outside is not as important as what's in our hearts and in our minds. What do you guys think? Does that seem like that's what he's trying to tell us? Yeah, I kind of feel like that's one of the really important messages in this story, that what makes you a wonderful, wonderful human, like you all are, is nothing about what your hair looks like or the clothes that you wear. It has nothing to do with the lipstick you wear or the smelly stuff you spray on. It has to do with who you are as a person, or in this case, who you are as a sneetch. You know, all kinds of humans and all kinds of sneetches are the best on the beaches, right?
Yeah.
We're all great, no matter what we look like and no matter what we wear, no matter what the shape our body is, no matter how we wear our hair. We all are good and wonderful.
Yeah.
Now, that to me is good thinking, Owen. Thank you. And I think that's the first lesson that he tries to teach us. Now I'm going to tell you about a second lesson that I get. Now this is the only time we'll get to talk about this, so make sure your attendoscopes are on, because this involves you. All of you guys are always being tricked. And you're probably like, tricked me? Totally. Now, I'm going to start with a little story about myself when I was little. This is terrible. I wanted a toy that was in this box of cereal, and it was a sugary cereal. And my mom would never buy sugary cereal. She just refused. When we were little, we got to eat things like grape nuts and corn flakes and Rice Krispies, and we ate a lot of oatmeal because my mom thought we should have a hot breakfast in the morning. So cereal for us was never sweet. It was never, like a character on the front of the box that was cool. My mom refused, absolutely refused. And one day there was a toy that was advertised on television and I wanted it. And I bothered my mom over and over again. I was like, Mom, but I want buy this cereal. I want that toy. Mom, buy this cereal. I want that toy. How many of you have ever done that? And it's okay, be honest. I've done it. You ever told your mom you wanted something and you wouldn't leave her alone, or dad, and you asked and you asked and you asked and you asked and you asked? Oh, look, all these honest hands. Okay, we've all done it. You know, I did that to my mom, and she finally bought the cereal. And she really only bought that cereal so I would be quiet because she was tired of hearing me. I had picked on my mom so much that I made her feel very, very bad. I made her feel like a bad mom, which I should never do because my mom loves me more than anything in the world. And my mom was not giving me sugary cereal because she loved me. So we get the cereal, and I'm so excited to get this toy that I had seen on TV. And I dig into the cereal, which drove my dad crazy because my dad does not like hands in cereal. Get your hands out of the food, pour a bowl, was all he ever said. I dug down into the cereal and I pulled out the toy, and I was so excited for about 20 minutes. I mean, it was just a little piece of plastic junk. And after that 20 minutes, that toy went into my bedroom and was lost in the toy box. And I honestly don't even remember what that toy was. It was nothing. It was just, it was just junk, right? But I learned a lesson that day. I felt bad, actually, that I had pestered my mom. But I learned something as I grew up about advertising. Advertising is what you see when you watch TV and they show commercials. Those commercials are advertisements. When you get onto a YouTube video or you get onto a web page and it flashes some picture telling you about something you can buy, that's an advertisement. And advertisements are made to get people to buy things, right? So I learned as I got older that the people who made that cereal, they put that little junky toy in that cereal so I would do that. There are people who have these jobs, and their job is to sell the product. So, this guy or a gal sit in the office, they're like, how can we get people to buy Toasty Mini-O's? How can we get people to buy this cereal? What can we do to make people buy this cereal? And then they come up with the commercials, and they put them on TV or on the internet, and then people see them and they think, oh, wow, that's pretty cool. I should buy that. Well, guess what? Those men and women who work in those offices have learned something. They have learned that kids will do what I did. You know what they call it? It's called pester power. I wanted that cereal, so I pestered my mom. I pestered her over and over and over and over to get something, and then she finally bought it. So advertisers know that kids will pester their parents to get things. So when I think about this story, Sylvester McMonkey McBean, he was like an advertiser, wasn't he? He's like, oh, y'all want stars? Come here, I'll give them to you. To the others, he's like, oh, you don't want stars? Come here, I'll give them to you. You want stars? and he was just trying to take all their money. Advertisers are trying to get you to spend your money on the product that they're selling. It's kind of crazy, but if you were to think about things like, let's say, has anybody ever bought a food because SpongeBob or My Little Pony or Mickey Mouse was on it? Has anybody ever done that? No, yeah, I see some hands. Yeah. Do you know that's why they put that character on there?
To advertise you.
Yeah, to get
Yes. Yes.
to trick kids into thinking they need that, right? What about, okay, think about like McDonald's. Can you guys think of anything about McDonald's that's trying to get kids to go there?
Because McDonald's has like a picture of a little Happy Meal on it.
With a toy,
Mm-hmm.
and they have a clown and cartoony characters, and they have a playground sometimes. All those things are to get kids to want to eat McDonald's. And, you know, is McDonald's a really healthy place? Many of the things, not all, but many of the things that are targeting kids and trying to get kids to tell their parents, I want that, I want that, I want that, please, 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 can I please have it, can I please have it, can I please have it? Many of those things are not healthy. I was trying to find some really good images earlier today, so I'm going to share my screen and just show you a little bit of how things are packaged. So I thought that this one was interesting. Let me go back up. So I found that there were some carrots. Okay, so here's popcorn, but it's called Proper Corn for Kids. I mean, this is not necessarily a direct advertisement, but I mean, it's made to look more fun, right? Instead of writing just words that your parents could read to decide that you need this popcorn, they make characters out of things. And that draws your attention to it, right? Now, a lot of those, that's not necessarily an unhealthy advertisement. But then I saw Band-Aids. Look at the Band-Aids. I listened to a lady tell a story about how her little girl loved Dora the Explorer. And so the little girl got a boo-boo, and her mom gave her a Dora the Explorer Band-Aid. And the next thing the mom knew, Dora the Explorer Band-Aids were so popular with her daughter that she would pretend like she was hurt so she could get another Band-Aid. And she said, and I just kept going to the store and buying those same Band-Aids because my daughter liked them. And when she pretended she had a boo-boo, I gave her one even when she didn't need it. Now, let's look at some cereal boxes. If you look at a lot of cereal boxes, what do they have on them?
Counters.
They have cartoony characters, right? And what
silly characters and fun characters.
Yeah.
They pretend to get the kids get attention and ask their parents if they can.
That's right.
Get the Super Mario. That Bruno would like them.
I know. They put all these characters on the front. And what do they put inside of cereal boxes sometimes?
Sugar.
Well, they do have sugar, but what else do they sometimes put in there?
Toys. Toys.
Toys. And why do you think they would put a toy prize in their cereal?
To get the kids' attention.
Get the kids' attention. So I think about this book, and I think about how Sylvester McMonkey McBean was trying to get the Sneetches money, right? And it always makes me think about how hard we work at our jobs to earn money. So when I was a kid, my mom and dad didn't have a lot of money. They weren't poor, but they definitely didn't have much. They used their money to buy us a nice house and to keep my brother and I wearing nice clothes and eating healthy meals. And those were the things that were important for mom and dad. And they worked really hard. Like my dad drove 75 miles. He drove for over an hour to get to work every day, and he worked in the afternoons until late at night. And then he drove over an hour home just to have a nice enough job so they could buy that land and build that house. So when I was little, I would try to get my mom to buy me things. My brother was way worse at this than I was because I didn't want mom to get mad at me. I would ask and she'd say no. I heard no a lot, but I still would watch cartoons on Saturday morning. And during those cartoons, there were all these cool advertisements for sugary cereal with cartoony characters and prizes inside, and I wanted them. And then they would show toy ads. And sometimes it looked like the dolls flew and all these things. And I would be so excited. And I would ask for that for Christmas. And I would get it. And you know what? It didn't even do what they showed in the commercial. It wasn't as magical as I thought it was. But the advertising, it sucked me in. Sylvester McMonkey McBean is doing what the Sneetches want. He's like, oh, they want to be different. I'm going to make it happen, and I'm going to get them to give me more money. He studied the Sneetches to learn how to trick them. And that's what advertisers do with kids. They learn how to trick you into begging for their products so that you can pester your parents to buy them for you. Isn't that crazy? Isn't that nuts? Oh my goodness. And not parents don't usually have all the money in the world. They work really hard, don't they? Yeah. So when we ask them to spend that money on silly things, sometimes we're making our moms and dads feel bad because they may not have that money, right? Yeah. So anyway, I just want you guys to keep an eye out and see if you can find examples in your day of when somebody's trying to trick you. Don't be tricked. Okay. Down below, there's a little video that talks about advertising. It does talk about, oh, I forgot. When you get a little older, guess what they'll try to do to trick you? Okay, get this. This is insane. Okay, so I can't believe they do this, but like when you become a teenager, you might not believe this, but you're gonna like boys and girls. You're gonna like other boys and girls. You're gonna think they're cute, right? But when you become a teenager, things happen. You might get a pimple. If you get a pimple, then you're going to be like, oh no, it's the end of the world. It's not. Like they'll make advertisements where they'll say, oh, this cream, you can put it on and it's gone the next day. And so they'll advertise because they think you're going to feel bad about having a little pimple. And then also, if you are a normal size person, you might think that you're a little overweight. They'll put pictures of people on their products, and they'll take computers and they'll edit those pictures, and they're not even real pictures. They take the person's picture and they cut away parts of their body to make them look skinnier. Isn't that crazy? So that you feel like, oh, I should buy that product because it will make me skinnier, or it will make me prettier, or it will make me cooler. They put rock and roll stars and all kinds of things in there. There are all kinds of things that go into advertising that get people, like kids and even teenagers, to be kind of tricked into believing that those things make you better, cooler, all those things. I'm an older lady now. What kind of ads they try to trick me with? This cream will take away your wrinkles. This hair dye will cover your gray. And I admit, sometimes I'm tricked, but just be aware that the advertisers know that you are going to affect your parents' buying. Don't let them trick you over some little junky toy in a cereal box. Okay? Thumbs up if you're going to try to watch out for what they're trying to do. Awesome. Be smarter buyers. Keep that money and save it for the things you really want. Miss Scarlett. Yes, Scarlett.
I wanted to say, when the advertisers trick you, sometimes I fall for it, and sometimes I'm like, nah, I'm gonna buy this instead.
It's okay. We all fall for it sometimes, honey. It's just a good idea to be on the lookout because I think for me as a grown up now, what I realize is all those little things that when I was a kid I thought I needed to have, they really weren't important. What was really important was the way I was treating my mom. You know, my mom wanted to be a good mom and she wanted me to love her and think she was a good mom. And sometimes when I pestered my mom, I made her feel really bad. And luckily, I didn't do it too much, but my brother did it a lot. And it actually makes your parents feel really sad because your parents want to give you everything in the world, don't they? I mean, all parents want their kids to be happy. So when they have to say no because they don't have the money or because they think what it is junk, they feel bad. So I think that's probably my most important lesson is that those junky things are not probably worth how we make our parents feel. Artur.
Well, I didn't really get tricked when I was excited to get my Mario game. We just found that out. We just didn't know that anyone made it.
Uh-huh.
At first, I just got excited and I didn't even know if it costs much or stuff like that. But when I got to level 4 of it, then my mom had to do $10 to unlock all of the other ones.
Cool. Well, you know, Marcus, Artur, it's okay that you buy things. I'm not saying that you guys can't want things and buy things because it's okay. What I think is just important is to know what advertisers do to trick you. I heard a new thing today. You want to hear the newest thing? This is kind of crazy to me. I had no idea, but I kind of was suspicious. So, you know how teenagers have cell phones? So your cell phone has a little GPS tracker, and that GPS tracker is constantly sending messages off to satellites in space. And so now their advertisers have found out they can like see when somebody's cell phone is close to a McDonald's and then send them an advertisement for McDonald's. So like they find out that person is close to McDonald's, send them an ad, and then that person sees an ad and goes, oh, McDonald's sounds good. Oh, there's one right here. What a dirty trick, huh? And I'm just using McDonald's. It's not necessarily always McDonald's. It's just like, you know, any restaurant. They're finding out so much information about us by how we use the internet. And I mean, like for me, I use Facebook to talk to my friends. And what was it the other day? The other day, I was searching online for something for my house. And I was trying to find this thing for the house. And now every time I go on Facebook, there's an advertisement for that thing that I needed coming at me. Or if I click on a piece of jewelry that I think is pretty, then that advertisement just keeps coming at me all day, every time I get on there. So there are lots of things that are being collected about you and what you like so that they can show you things and try to trick you into buying them. So be careful. But it's okay to buy things. It's just, be aware.
I wanted to tell you something else.
Mm-hmm.
Well, really, whenever I see a ad that just gets up onto me, I just wait until the screen says skip ad and I press there and it skips the ad.
Awesome. Yeah,
I
and
don't really buy it.
That's good. Yeah, I like to skip ads too. And you guys, I know we've gone over, so you're welcome to log out if you need to. Marcus.
There's like 3, 2, 1, and after that there's like a skip ad.
Yeah.
But if I press it too late, then another ad comes, and then it does 3, 2, 1, and then I press it, and then the ads go away.
That's cool. Thanks, Artur. Miss Clara.
So I have 2 things. One is the first thing is, hold on. I forget the first thing, but
You got the coloring page off the assignment? Good.
yeah, what does it say down here? Because I wasn't in until when you were in the middle of the story.
Honestly, I don't know what it says down there. I don't think that matters. It's the Sneetches on the Beaches page. Or the Sneetches is the name of the story. On the bottom, it just tells you downloaded from A2ZColoring.com. That's just where I got that paper from. So that's not really something you have to worry about down there. Okay? All right. Mr. Miko.
Oh wait, but don't forget to check the green eggs and ham one on the doctor.
And you're talking about the video, right?
No, I'm talking about the the red one on top that you were showing me yesterday. That one on the green eggs and ham one. It didn't work for me, so don't forget to check the green.
Oh, the game on the website.
Yeah, the red thing in there. It's not working.
You may have to play it on another computer. It might be that your iPad just doesn't allow it, honey.
It might be that it's on this iPad, because this is my family iPad, not my school iPad.
Yeah, you may have to try.
Phrase, what time is my turn?
Well, honey, hold on. It's your turn now. I
think Clara talked too much.
Oh, no. I shouldn't say that, honey. That's not kind. All right, go ahead, Miko.
But I have never gone on before. So I have never seen something cool. So I never buy something.
Do you watch TV?
Like nagging all the time.
Do you watch television, though?
What do you mean?
Do you watch television shows or video or shows about? Do you watch any TV shows, cartoons, or anything?
I sometimes didn't watch any because my mom said if we watch these television shows, that means he's not good at my brain. My mom will let me don't see it, and sometimes some scary things will pop out when I'm seeing the movie. So I will close my eyes and close my ears.
Yeah.
So I will not see it. When it's done, I'll see what I'm seeing.
Sometimes the advertising is just a picture on the box when you're in the grocery store or the signs you see when you're driving down the road. So keep an eye out for those too, okay? All right.
Yeah. And
Karin, I'm going to have to get Matei, and then I have a reading group in like 2 minutes. So can you ask you and Clara, can you save yours for 1 o'clock today? Because I have a reading group in like 2 minutes. So I'm going to let Matei go, and then I got to.
There's really something that I need to say. It's I need to see the book one more time.
Matei, what did you want to say?
Okay.
Got it? All right.
remember yesterday I had writing and at Dr. Seuss app? I couldn't seem to go there.
I'm trying to think. Oh, it's in the, well, that maybe there's a problem with the iPads not letting it load, honey. You might have to try it in a different way.
And also I kind of and where is it again?
If you go to your assignments, there's the Seuss-tastic or celebration page that you can go to, okay?
Okay, I think I was there, but I couldn't find it. I could find that kind of good, and I also could find books and and that troll in the Grinch.
Okay. Well, honey, you guys can go and look at that. I'm going to let you guys go just because I do have a reading. Honey, it's time for my reading. I can't talk any longer because I have.
what?
I can't talk. Hey,
What?
Karin, listen. I have a reading group right now, so I have to go. Okay. Bye, guys. You got to log off.
This was popcorn.
No, hey, I can't talk anymore. I got a reading group. Bye.
Bye. Goodbye. Bye. Bye.
Hi, Nelson. How you doing, buddy?
Good.
Good. I can't see your face.
Hey.
Good to see you this